The 15th Regiment of Alabama Infantry was a Confederate volunteer infantry unit from the state of Alabama during the American Civil War. Recruited from 6 counties in the southeastern part of the state, it fought mostly with Robert E. Lee's Army of Northern Virginia, though it also saw brief service with Braxton Bragg and the Army of Tennessee in late 1863 before returning to Virginia in early 1864 for the duration of the war. Out of 1958 men listed on the regimental rolls throughout the conflict, 261 are known to have fallen in battle, with sources listing an additional 416 deaths due to disease. 218 were captured, 66 deserted and 61 were transferred or discharged. By the end of the war, only 170 men remained to be paroled. The 15th Alabama is most famous for being the regiment that confronted the 20th Maine on Little Round Top during the Battle of Gettysburg on July 2, 1863. Despite several ferocious assaults, the 15th Alabama was ultimately unable to dislodge the Union troops, and was eventually forced to retreat in the face of a desperate bayonet charge led by the 20th Maine's commander, Col. Joshua L. Chamberlain. This assault was recreated in Ronald F. Maxwell's 1993 film Gettysburg. Recruitment, Organization and Equipment. Recruitment. The 15th Alabama was organized by James Canty, a planter originally from South Carolina, who was residing in Russell County, Alabama. At the outset of the Civil War, Canty's rifles formed at F.D. Mitchell, on the Chattahoochee River, in May 1861. Canty's company was joined by 10 other militia companies, all of which were sworn into state service by Governor Andrew B. Moore on July 3, 1861, with Canty as regimental commander. One of these companies, from Henry County, was formed by William C. Oates, a lawyer and newspaperman from Abbeville. Oates, who would later command the whole regiment at Little Round Top, put together a company composed mostly of Irishmen recruited from the area, calling them Henry Pioneers, or Henry County Pioneers. Other observers, after seeing their colorful uniforms, dubbed them Oates' Welvers. According to one source, the youngest private in the 15th Alabama was only 13 years old. The oldest, Edmund Shepard, was 70. Organization. The 15th initially consisted of approximately 900 men. Its companies, and their counties of origin, were Co. known as Canty's Rifles, from Russell County. Co. B. known as the Midway Southern Guards, from Barber County. Co. C. no nickname given, from Macon County. Co. D. known as the Fort Browder Roughs, from Barber County. Co. E. known as the Beauregards, from Dale County. Co. F. known as the Brundiger Guards, from Pike County. Co. G. known as the Henry Pioneers, from Henry County. Co. H. known as the Glenville Guards, from Barber and Dale counties. Co. I. no nickname given, from Pike County. Co. K. known as the Eufaula City Guard, from Barber County, and Co. L. no nickname given, from Pike County. Following its formal swearing-in, the 15th Alabama was ordered to Pageland Field, Virginia, for training and drill. During their sojourn at Pageland, the regiment lost 150 men to measles. In September 1861, the 15th was transferred to Camp Toombs, Virginia, in part to escape the measles outbreak. Equipment companies A and B of the 15th Alabama were equipped with the M1841 Mississippi rifle, a .54 caliber percussion rifle that had seen extensive service in the Mexican-American War and was highly regarded for its accuracy and ease of use. The other companies in the regiment were given older, George Law, smoothbore muskets, which had been converted from flintlocks to percussion rifles. Later, the regiment received British pattern 1853 Enfield rifle muskets and Springfield Model 1861 rifled muskets. Since the 15th had initially enlisted for 3 years, it received its arms from the Confederate government, which refused to provide weapons to any regiment enlisting for a lesser period. While details of the specific uniforms worn by other companies of the 15th has not been preserved, Oates G is recorded to have sported, in addition to their red and grey clothing, a colourful and diverse attire of headgear. Each cap bore an HP insignia, which stood for Henry Pioneers. Each soldier also wore a secession badge, with the motto, Liberty, Equality and Fraternity, which had been the motto of the French Revolution. Early service and campaigns. Valley Campaign at Camp Toombs. The 15th Alabama was brigaded with the 21st Georgia Volunteer Infantry, the 21st North Carolina Infantry and the 16th Mississippi Infantry Regiments in Trimble's Brigade of Ewell's Division, part of the Confederate Army of Northern Virginia. After that force moved over toward Yorktown, the 15th was transferred to Maj. Gen. Stonewall Jackson's division, where it participated in his Valley Campaign. During this time, the 15th participated in the following engagements: Battle of Front Royal on May 23, 1862, negligible losses. First Battle of Winchester on May 25, 1862, negligible losses. Battle of Cross Keys on June 8, 1862, 9 killed and 33 wounded, out of 426 engaged. Following the Battle of Cross Keys, the 15th was mentioned in dispatches by its division commander, Maj. Gen. Ewell, who stated that, "The regiment made a gallant resistance, enabling me to take position at leisure." Its brigade commander, Brig. Gen. Trimble, also singled out the regiment for honors during this engagement, to Colonel Canty for his skillful retreat from picket, and prompt flank maneuver. I think special praise is due. During this particular engagement, soldiers of the 15th Alabama had the unusual opportunity of participating in every major phase of a single battle, starting with the opening skirmish at Union Church on the forward left flank, followed by withdrawing beneath the artillery duel in the center, and then finally participating in Trimble's ambush of the 8th New York and subsequent counterattack on the Confederate right flank, which brought the battle to its conclusion. 7 days battles following the victorious conclusion of Jackson's Valley Campaign, the 15th participated in Jackson's attack on Maj. Gen. George B. McClellan's flank during the 7 days battles. During this time, the 15th fought in the following sorties: Battle of Gaines Mill on June 27–28, 1862, 34 killed and 110 wounded, out of 412 engaged. Battle of Malvern Hill on July 1, 1862, negligible losses. Northern Virginia Campaign. Following McClellan's retreat from Richmond, the 15th was engaged in the Northern Virginia Campaign, where it participated in the following battles: Battle of Warrenton Springs Ford on August 12, 1862, losses not given. Battle of Hazel River, Virginia, on August 22, 1862, losses not given. Battle of Kettle Run on August 30, 1862, 6 killed and 22 wounded. Second Battle of Manassas, on August 30, 1862, 21 killed and 91 wounded, out of 440 engaged. Battle of Chantilly, on September 1, 1862, 4 killed and 14 wounded. Maryland Campaign. Next up was Lee's Maryland Campaign, where the 15th Alabama saw action at Battle of Harper's Ferry from September 12 to 15, 1862, negligible losses. Battle of Antietam on September 17, 1862, 9 killed and 75 wounded, out of 300 engaged. Battle of Shepherdstown on September 19, 1862, losses not given. After Antietam, acting brigade commander Carl James A. Walker cited CPT Isaac B. Fegan, acting regimental commander, for outstanding performance while extolling the regiment as a whole. Captain Fegan, commanding the 15th Alabama Regiment, behaved with a gallantry consistent with his high reputation for courage and that of the regiment he commanded. Fredericksburg and Suffolk reassignment following the Confederate defeat at Antietam. The 15th Alabama participated with Jackson's Corps at the Battle of Fredericksburg on December 15, 1862. Total casualties there were 1 killed and 34 wounded. The regiment was then reassigned in May 1863 to General James Longstreet's Corps, which was then participating in the Siege of Suffolk, Virginia. Here it formed part of the newly created Alabama Brigade, under Evander Law and General Hood's division. The 15th and lost 4 killed and 18 wounded at Suffolk. The Great Snowball Fight on January 29, 1863. The 15th Alabama participated with several other regiments of the Army of Northern Virginia in what became known as the Great Snowball Fight of 1863. Over 9,000 Confederate soldiers engaged in a spontaneous, day-long free-for-all using snowballs and rocks, in which only 2 soldiers were seriously injured. Oates takes command. Along with its change in divisional assignment, the 15th Alabama received a new regimental commander, Lt. Col. William C. Oates, who had originally organized Co. G when the regiment first formed in 1861. Oates had lived a drifter's existence in Texas during his early adulthood, participating in numerous street brawls and spending time as a gambler. However, by 1861 he had returned to Alabama, finished his schooling, studied law, and set up a successful practice in Henry County that also included ownership of a weekly newspaper in his hometown. Opposed to Abraham Lincoln's election, Oates cautioned against precipitate secession. However, once Alabama decided to leave the Union, he threw himself wholeheartedly into the Southern cause, raising a company of volunteers that became Co. G of the 15th Alabama. After Canty's promotion and transfer to a new position, Oates assumed command of the regiment as a whole. In later years, Oates would serve as governor of Alabama, and would also command 3 U.S. brigades during the Spanish-American War. While some of his men thought Oates to be too aggressive for his own good and theirs, most admired his courage and affirmed that he was always to be found at the front of his men, in the thick of combat, and that he never asked them to go anywhere that he was not willing to go himself. A political rival, Alexander Lowther, would replace Oates as regimental commander in July 1864 after allegedly engineering Oates' removal from command. It was Oates, however, who led the 15th Alabama into its most noted engagement of the war, at Little Round Top on July 2, 1863. During the second day of the Battle of Gettysburg,